Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have a joke. But Tim said I was supposed to have a joke. But I do have a question. Are we going to be Claris Solutions Alliance now? Anybody got any ideas? Who's still got their logo? Right there. Yes. All right. My name is Molly Connolly. I'm fortunate to be on the FileMaker Partner Council. It's a small group that we've been given the opportunity to, a few times a year, we're on conference calls with FileMaker, and we basically have the opportunity to react to some of the questions they have and give our feedback. Now, I have a lot of opinions, as I'm sure most of you do as well. So, and I don't usually hesitate to share those, but one of the things we thought, since we're here today with all of you, that maybe that what we would do is say, let's take this time to solicit your opinions so that we can be better representatives and try to share some of your feedback with FileMaker as well. So, with that in mind, our goal for today, we're really just going to do a facilitated session. We were supposed to have round tables. We're just going to figure it out because we are problem solvers. And the idea is we're just going to get into small groups, and we're going to basically ask you guys to share some opinions. I would like to know if anyone here has any opinions about the future of FileMaker. Yes, okay, good. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just set the framework to say, hey, if you had a wish list, what would be the top 3 things that you want, right? And as you're in small groups, talk about those and then also put some context around them. Why would you want it? Who would it help? How is it going to assist us? And how could it be achieved? So my fellow FPC members and a few other people where I've twisted their arm are going to help facilitate the groups. And part of that will just be to make sure that we keep things moving and we gather as much information as possible. Here's some suggested touch points. And again, I don't think I'm, oh, do you have a question? What's your question? John would like to know if this is a product feature request meeting, and that is my last slide, and the answer is no. But if you look at the touch points, you know, we're talking about this, the Partner Council, FBA, Claris Solutions, whatever we're going to be, the focus is more on the business aspects and the communication and marketing aspects. But we also have to be honest that the root of what matters to us is the technical direction of the product. So I don't want to say, oh, you can't talk about technical things. I just don't want somebody to give me a bug report about V2 and Java and what some of us are dealing with. So, that's not the forum for that. So here's a few touch points. If we can talk about how to improve communications, including with us. And again, we're not like elected officials or something, but we do have an opportunity in the ear of FileMaker, and we'd like to be able to share that, your opinions and ideas as well. You know, talk about the community forums. Licensing is certainly something we have opinions about. Marketing, the new marketplace, which we should be seeing soon, and then the technical. All right, so we thought we'd try and do breakout groups, and to a certain extent, like we all have a lot in common. So if you just sit next to your neighbors and a facilitator will come up to you and we'll group together. But it might also be helpful if you are an SBA. Kevin, where'd you go? Will you stand up? So Kevin's going to facilitate a group if you're an SBA, because you may have more unique considerations that you want to focus on. And then maybe there's some of you who do plugins, but either way, if you just want to get together with a group and we'll try and help facilitate this process. All right. One of the kind of our little talking points that our facilitators are going to have, and this forum is also on FileMaker Community. I have a link to it. But the way I'd like to frame this is, you know, we've got, let's call it 45 minutes. So in the 45 minutes that we're here, we can start out with an initial brainstorming. Hey, these are things that are important to me. Here's what I'd like to see. Here's changes I'd like to see. Here's questions that I have, right? And then within that, when your group narrows it down, because we don't want to have 4,000 topics, right? We'll try and capture them all, but if you can prioritize within your group of like the top 3 considerations, and then spend the time to say, okay, what's the opportunity? And notice I phrase that as opportunity, not necessarily what's the problem. Like what could change that we could make better? What is something that would enhance the work we do? The next one would be suggested solutions. There's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions and then no idea how to achieve it. So let's try and, as a group, come up with what's a proposed solution. With cost, okay, you don't necessarily know what it'll cost, but is it high, medium, or low? Like, would this take a huge investment, or is this something that's, you know, potentially achievable? And then finally, what's the impact? Like, I have a lot of ideas that would pretty much only affect me and one particular client. That probably doesn't need to go on the radar here, right? So what is the impact, and if we can look for how it would impact multiple people and multiple clients within our community. All right, so an example, a struggle that I have is convincing IT departments to approve FileMaker as a recommended product, right? And if I say it as an opportunity, like, wow, what would it be like if I didn't have to have that fight, right? What would it be like if I could come in and not be dismissed because they'd already decided that wasn't a technology they would use? So what's a solution? Well, is there some way we could do some kind of IT training program, an informational campaign? Is there more that I can put out there ahead of time before my visit, right? And then is the cost high, medium, low? Well, that depends. I mean, is it an effort we do as FBA, so we have our own materials? Is it an effort that FileMaker would take on as some additional marketing? I don't know, but it's worth identifying those objects. And then the impact would obviously be increased licensing and consulting sales. So does that help just give a little framework of how we're trying to like make these actionable? All right. All right, and then just one more time, trying to business focus. It's not a product feature request. And we'll try and have facilitators for that main reason, because I know for myself it's really easy to devolve into like, and if I just fix this. So we want to keep it a little more high level. All right, any questions out there? If my facilitators could stand up, please. There we go. So we've got a group of facilitators here. We have the one other thing, they've just got a little cheat sheet here, right? So that to help us stay on track. And then what I'd like to do is shoot for the discussions to go till about 11:45, or if you run out of things to say, which I kind of doubt is going to happen. But if your group is kind of finished up, the goal is to just say, okay, we're going to bring our suggestions up to the front. I'm going to type them up here so I can throw them on the screen to say, hey, these are some of the top priorities we're hearing. And then the next step will be for us as a council, we're going to meet, we're going to consolidate those requests, and then we're also going to present them to FileMaker at our next meeting. Does that sound good? Everybody ready to talk? You're kind of quiet out there. I would expect to hear some noise in a few minutes. Do you guys want to just like go grab people? All right. Thanks, everyone. We're going to put a timer on, and let's hear what you have to say. Stephen, can you hear me in the back? Hello. Hey, guys, I'm going to interrupt for a second. I'm just going to interrupt for 1 minute. Hello, everyone. So it's already 11:45. I think time flies when we're all talking. Guys, you can keep continuing, but if my facilitators could kind of wrap up and start bringing some of the comments up to the front, that would be great. And again, you can continue your conversations. I just want to make sure I don't miss any of the comments that we've captured. All right, guys, I'm gonna do a quick wrap up. So if everybody can just, I don't want to show them. I'm just gonna say them, because All right, hey everyone, it's me again. Hello. Thanks everybody for all your ideas. I've got a pile here that I'm gonna type up. That's probably not gonna happen in the next 3 minutes. Oh, don't make me whistle. Don't make me whistle. All right. It'll scare you. Okay. I wanted to just share a couple of the ideas that came through, and then Brad was going to have a quick word, so you can all be quiet because Brad will be coming, and that'll be more exciting. All right. So, real quick, I was able to pop around a little bit and kind of glean some of the things you're talking about, and I've got a great pile here of things to add that again we'll communicate back to you via FileMaker community. One of the topics was, hey, is there a better way to communicate? We're going to talk about that as well. Like, what are some of the opportunities there? But a couple I wanted to point out that I think I heard in a couple of the groups. One was so many of us make our decisions about our business based on what technology is coming, and we love the product roadmap, but once a year feels like it's not enough. So any additional information, and there were a whole bunch of really great ideas for how to get that out in terms of how we can stay more informed. Particularly, I heard for product companies where you're making long-term decisions about which technology we're going to implement. So the product roadmap was really high. There were also a lot of suggestions about licensing, how you can better, more quickly get pricing to your customers, how you can more quickly find out what their licensing needs are, how you can more quickly identify that so that we can serve the customers better. And then Gosh. And then there were some more about, a lot about just our FBA listings. So from a couple different angles. One is there a way to see, are people actually clicking on my profile? Like, am I getting people to click through and look at that? Is there a way to maybe put us in different tiers so that there's more exposure, even if you're a solo shop, right? And another, and again, there's great details here and great suggestions that we'll put together for you. But another one was about, I liked it so much, where did it go? Shares, ranking, exposure. Oh, about helping us to somehow, so for example, people come to DevCon and then they find somebody else in the exact same industry who's not really a competitor, and they solve problems together, right? Two people who are in the same sector where they're producing the same kind of product, and to be able to find other people with very similar problems. So on the one hand, we all have FileMaker in common, but if we could have a place to more quickly network with the people who are doing the same thing, and then possibly do some cohort learning, especially with so many new technologies that are coming our way. Like, how are we gonna learn them all at once? Well, a really good way would be to find somebody who's already an expert and be able to leverage their expertise. So I think all the suggestions were really great. I hope you found this valuable. And again, we're gonna take those and try and share them. And Dan, do you have a question? Don't. Zero. Zero. We got zero, and I think part of it, and that was part of the reason why we wanted to do it as a discussion group, because I think everyone is so busy, they're not necessarily on FileMaker Community saying this is a good way to get it, and I didn't necessarily have people calling me, and I think that that is some of, like, it's not really clear what our role is. This is my first year, right, and it's pretty new, and so we're defining that, and I thought this might be a good way to open it up to say, hey, well, we'd like to listen and consolidate. Yeah, so I'm gonna type my pile up here, and then I'll put those on FileMaker Community. It's on the slide, like where it is within FPC, on the FileMaker Community. All right, any other questions? Brad was gonna say a couple words for us. Come on down. Or up.
First, thanks, Molly, and thanks to the FileMaker Partner Council. They all obviously dedicate their time, they volunteer, and they're very committed. We have meetings twice a quarter, and I know Pacific time, they're 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., and I know for Shin, if she's in here, for Japan, they're much worse. So there really is a lot of dedication that goes into this. I'd say I'm really happy with the approach we've put together for the FPC. We rotate members every year. We have 9 FPC members. We rotate 3 each year, so we keep it fresh. We look for a blend of platinums, smaller FBAs, international representation. All of our continents are represented, people who are developing plugins, developer tools, SBA solutions, as well as custom development. So I think it's the right cross-section. But as Molly pointed out, we haven't kind of extended the communication scale across the community the way we want to. I think my point of emphasis here is that this is an incredible opportunity for all of you to communicate, voice, and ultimately prioritize the key imperatives that you want us to focus on. When we meet twice a quarter for 2 hours, it's myself, Ann Monroe, we have product management. We have a good cross-section, and we show up prepared for these meetings. We're completely open to the feedback. It is the right context to communicate to us, and we went through marketplace, brand discussions. I think the really important components of our evolving strategy are discussed during the FPC. So anyway, if we can use this as a nudge to encourage your participation, to get the forms filled out, to take the approach, to collaborate together, our goal is to implement the changes you're looking for. And I would say that the opposite is also true. When we all run into each other at cocktail parties and everybody has an individual issue, we're not capturing notes, we're not creating to-dos and follow-ups, and so I think things fall flat. It's not because we don't care, we're not listening, we just have a cocktail in our hand and we're not taking notes at the time. So this is the right opportunity. We take it incredibly seriously, and we have implemented changes, and we will continue to as a result of it. So thank you for participating and being here, and hopefully you guys recognize how committed we are to making this process productive for all of you. So thanks to the FPC, and thank you guys for giving me a moment.
right, thanks, Brad. Thanks, everybody, for coming. And I'll get to typing. Have a great afternoon.